G'day, everyone. Welcome to another Toon podcast, the Southern Hemisphere's biggest and best podcast, all things Newcastle United. Tonight, joined by Craig. Craig, how are you today, mate?
Good, mate. I've got 11 days off work, so I'm absolutely buzzing right now.
Oh, Jesus, you lucky bastard.
Mm.
Tonight we'll cover off a bit of the last game in the Super Summer Series in America. There's a few midfield issues I think we need to talk about as well. A few outgoings since our last podcast we should probably touch on. And a little thing we've been running, Craig, for the last two podcasts. It's our annual shirt giveaway competition. You can win that one there that Craig's got on. He's got the home shirt for those who are listening on audio. But if you like the green kit, you can get the green one. You can get the gorgeous navy blue and carbon one as well. All you need to do is like this video, like the last video, the one before that, subscribe to the channel, and you're automatically in the draw to win one of them shirts. Oh, you need to comment as well. So, yeah, like the video, comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel for this one and our last two videos before this. And you'll be in the running to win a shirt of your choice, complete. If you want to name a number, we can organize that for you as well. You get it delivered to your house. All you have to do is three simple things. So make sure you do that. Also, tell everyone about the channel. Subscribe, get them out there. The more followers we have and the more subscribers, the better off we are, and the more we can get our video out there to all the Newcastle fans around the world. But we'll kick off, Craig, I guess, with the last game of the Super Summer Series against Brighton. Wearing that, not sure about the green kit yet.
Yeah.
But depending on how you consume the game, if you watched it live, you would have swore black and blue that we can do no right and Brighton can do no wrong. Completely forgetting that they didn't beat us last year. We battered them the second time we played them. We finished higher on the table, but all the commentators could seem to talk about was how good Brighton were for some reason. Now, granted, our 11 looked a lot different, didn't it, Craig, from the game
It
a couple
did.
of days earlier? Yeah. So I guess we'll start with that. We'll bring that up. We've got Nick Pope in goal, which I think he might have played a half of the second game.
He did,
Him
I.
and Dubravka swap at half time. Yeah. Harrison Ashby, Jamal Lascelles, Paul Dummett, Matty Target, and then we have Bruno Anderson, Matt Ritchie as a midfield three. Then Jacob Murphy, Harvey Barnes with his first start for the club, and Callum Wilson as well. And yeah, it rounds out the 11. The subs bench was really thin. I think Dubravka was the only basically senior player on there. The rest were kids. One kid in particular who caught the eye again, Craig, with his little cameo at the end was Lewis Miley. Eddie spoke after the game that he might be going out on loan this year. He's going to stay around and stuff like that. And I think that's probably going to be the best thing for him.
Oh, by far, I.
Anything else? I've
already said everything I can about Lewis Miley. I've waxed lyrical enough, and I just hope the lad stays grounded. He's got a good group of lads around him who can help him do that. And Eddie is probably the best coach in the world, or at least in the Premier League for the minute, for developing players. He just makes everybody better, doesn't he? And long may continue with Lewis Miley and also Turner Cook as well, because he's had a few decent cameo appearances off the bench as well.
Yeah. So I guess that Harvey Barnes with his first start, or not official start, but first start for the club, even though it was a pre-season fixture. What did you make of his game?
It's good, very direct with the ball, wasn't he?
He's very direct, isn't he?
Yeah, getting the ball at his feet and just running towards that white rectangle at the other end of the pitch. He's obviously got to work on his timing and his positional play with the other forward players. There was a few little passes with Wilson, which didn't quite come off. But again, that's just going to come with knowing each other better on the training ground, that sort of thing. That's exactly what pre-season's for, though.
Yeah, it was like as soon as he picked up the ball, he had a magnet to go straight towards the goal. But like he's only been there, not even a week. I don't think he's been with the team, and he's come on as a sub and started a game. But like you said, once they start getting that chemistry and stuff at training, and he actually becomes more accustomed to his role and how he fits within the team and the structure, I think he'd be a very valuable player. I think we spoke about that obviously when he signed as well. Question without notice: will he start the game against Aston Villa, or has he signed too late to be considered as a starter?
I think he will, to be honest, because he doesn't need any time settling in the league. That's a given. He's well accustomed to the league, obviously. It's just whether it's not the fact that he's fit enough; it's whether he's Eddie Howe fit enough. And that's a comment Eddie used for Isak when he was coming back from his injury. When Eddie turned around and said he is definitely fit enough, he's just not fit enough to play in my team. So whether that's a thing, but we do have cover on that side, even if he does have an hour spell or anything like that, But he could make a fantastic impact sub as well, though.
Yeah, I think they'll probably go with Gordon.
Right?
Yeah, I think he's definitely shown a bit this preseason. He's lively in all of his appearances. His confidence is high after the Euros with England, and he's player of the tournament as well. He fills that left slot just nicely. So, yeah, I think it's out of Gordon and Isak to start that left-hand side. I'm not sure if he's ready to upset that yet and have Isak sort of cut in on the left and play Wilson up top and until Wilson, I guess, hopefully this doesn't happen, but if he falls out of form, then I think he'll just slide it as a striker, and then Barnes and Gordon and stuff like that will fill that left-hand side. But just the back four was a little bit concerning. I think it raised a few alarm bells, didn't it? Not so much alarm bells in the context of the game, but more for the season going forward that these four guys are not really adequate backup players, are we, when we talk about Harrison Ashby and Jamal Lascelles, Paul Dummett and Matty Targett?
Paul Dummett, definitely. Matty Targett, I think, is a very good backup player to have. Dan Burn will probably get the nod against in the league opener against Villa. So we do need to strengthen that left position, the left wing, the left back, and also a right centre back as well, because Shaw went off with was it a hamstring pull on the game?
Yeah,
The game before?
it was definitely a hamstring problem, but I think they've been a little bit cagey with the diagnosis. I think he said he felt a bit tight, so he came off. But I think Eddie might have alluded to he might have just had a slight little nick in it that might put him back a week or so. So yeah, he's going to be touch and go, I think, for that Villa game as well, which is a bit concerning. Given, I mean, look, I think Jamal Lascelles has played well in his friendly games that he's played this year. But I think we'd all probably rather prefer Fabian to start that game. Even that game against Man City, he was really good as well. That game at the Etihad, sort of man marked Haaland, and I think he done a really, really good job on him. That was his last main appearance, I think, for the club from memory. So I know he gets a bit of shit and stuff like that, but I mean, his last sort of few performances have suggested he can do a job if needed. But like you said, I think we do need cover, definitely. Well, I'm not even sure if it's cover or we need to upgrade that position and maybe Fabian Schär becomes the cover, you know what I mean, rather than go out and buy someone to play a second fiddle to he's over 30 now, Schär, so maybe we do need a young Botman-aged right-sided defender for them to sort of blossom, I guess, for the next 10 years, hopefully, at the club. But what did you like about the game, Craig? I know, like I said, we don't want to get too caught up in preseason games, especially when there's clear agendas that they had instructions just to play as long as you could, and then we'd get you off if we have to. But what did you take out of it? And it can't be Elliot Anderson. We'll talk about him in a minute.
All right, okay. So of the 10 players that were wearing the green shirt, and Nick Pope. Oh, can I just before I forget, Nick Pope's moment of shithousery when the ball went out to play where he headed in, and he then kicked it back in. That was absolute top quality shithousery. Big up to Pope for doing that.
Anyone that says goalkeepers are dumb needs to look at that.
That was brilliant.
Genius.
That was absolutely brilliant. He took a yellow card for friendly. Who cares? But I thought the game was good. Brighton probably did have the better chances. But the way the commentators were going on, you'd think they were playing like prime Brazil or prime Spain. But it was men against boys in certain parts, wasn't it? There was a lot of players out there which They're never going to feature for our starting 11. Or some might not even make the match day squad for the Premier League. Likes of Richie and Dummett, you'd be hard pressed. I think they get anywhere near the match day squad unless we've got some severe injuries. But each player held their own. We've done all right. The goal that we conceded, maybe we could have done a little bit better. Maybe Pope could have got a better hand to it. But otherwise than that, yeah, we weren't overly pressed. We weren't in any way run ragged or anything like that. Yes, Brighton are a good team, but we're a better team, and we've proven that last season across the 2 games, I'd say, and this game just gone.
Yeah. Was there anything you didn't like?
The bench options.
I think that was part of the grand plan. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that they use probably that as their training session. So yeah, the thing is, you just go as hard as you can, like at training, and then I think the other boys would have trained that day. Who featured on, was it Tuesday or Wednesday, the last
Yeah.
game? So they would have had a big session that day, and then I think the guys that played Saturday would have had a big session the afternoon that the other boys played. So
There's just a few players like say Karius and Mankio. They never got a look in the last 2 games. They weren't even named on the bench or anything, I don't think. Mankio is a strange one because is he a player we're going to keep around, or is he going to go to Spain on that free transfer that's been mooted for the past few weeks? The fact that he didn't play in the last 2 games may suggest that, but Ashby going out on loan is another rumour that we'll probably get to in a bit.
we'll get to that. Yeah.
So yeah, a few players that they could have added to the bench, but they just didn't, which just seems a bit strange. But the result at the end of the day is the important thing.
Yeah. Well, it's not really the important thing. It's only important if you win in preseason games.
That's true.
The result doesn't matter if you lose, but it matters when you win. So after the final game wrapped up, we finished third in the US Super Summer Series. I don't think it's called Super Summer Series. I just like saying Super Summer Series. So I don't get hot under the collar of me saying it right. It's a deliberate thing. Undefeated as well, Craig, which is important. Not sure we defend. I think we conceded first in every game we played in, which is like I said, I know it's a preseason game, but it is a little bit concerning that we have to chase the game all the time. But I think we've seen enough now that we're good enough to do that, and I think we've done it on a few occasions since Eddie Howe took over. So we look forward now, don't we, to the Sela Cup, sponsored by, what was it, Malta?
Visit Malta.
Another great sponsor. We might touch on a certain sponsorship at the end of the podcast as well, which raises a few eyebrows, but I think it's a really, really good thing, just quietly. But so that's this weekend. So yeah, keep your eyes tuned for that. The midfield, Craig. We found out. I'm not sure if it was pre-game or post-game that Sean Longstaff was carrying a little bit of a hamstring as well. I'm pretty sure he played in the Rangers game. He might have featured in. I'm not sure if he featured in the first US game, but he definitely didn't play in either of the last 2 ones. So, with Willock out as well, coming back from that, looks like in reflection now was a pretty bad hamstring injury against Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of leaves us with 4 midfielders, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, if you look at Bruno, Tonali, Big Joe,
and Elliot
Anderson, he's been playing a lot more central, and the game will get on to him.
So that's who I have. So, this might sound like it's probably a stupid question asking you. Who do you think will be the starting 3 midfielders, for that first game as well?
For the Villa game? Yep. I want Bruno, Big Joe. They just get the nod straight away. The third person, it would be hard not to select Elliot Anderson right now, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, he's done everything right so far. 4 goals, 4 assists in pre-season. He's this season's Miggy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So
yeah, I'll go with Elliot Anderson.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. Like, Tonali come early, so he has had the full pre-season and things like that. And I think he's really trying hard to sort of integrate himself with the language and the players and things like that. From what I've heard, he's been taking English lessons, and they're really going to ramp up when they go back home. I think he's going to be taking 1 a day as well, which is really good. Bruno done something similar, and it's really benefited him since he thinks he's some kind of English wizard now that he can speak a few sentences. But look, Anderson was great, and he's been great in every game. He's probably been our most impressive player over the course of the preseason so far. But I just think Tonali will get the nod over him for the first game, but I think he'll definitely be seeing minutes for. I think most games this year we'll probably see Elliott, fitness permitting, obviously, but I think we'll be seeing him he'll be playing nearly every game this year, I'd imagine.
Certainly warrants it, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's done nothing wrong. So, but hopefully we can get Longstaff especially back up to speed just to give us a little bit more cover in there as well, and it might take the pressure off Joe Willock a little bit to get back and get himself, like you said, not fit, but Eddie Howe fit for the season. Because I think the way we play, if we've got 6 really good midfielders, that rotation is going to be really easier for Eddie Howe to do because he's got 6 quality players to rotate through.
And when you look at those first opening 6 fixtures that we've got, it's a tough ask to get results from any of those games. And to get the best results, we're going to need the best players available. It's just, it's going to be a tough ask, those opening games, but we'll see how it goes. All starts with Villa in, is it 10 days now?
It's not far. Yeah.
It's 10 days away.
So that'll do sort of on the US Super Summer Series. So since our last pod, there's been a bit of transfer activity, mainly outgoings now. I think that was probably the area that we needed to focus on, wasn't it, Craig? Starting to shift some players and the deadwood out. And I know that you especially haven't been really happy with some of the fees we're selling players for, but I think at the end of the day, when you sort of sum it all up, with the wages that some of these guys on, we're not going to get much of a fee because no one's going to want to pay the fee and commit to the wages as well. So it's more a salary dump, I guess, in a basketball term, just to get them off the books and not have to worry about their wages. And they have spoken about how trying to get the wage turnover down percentage-wise with regards to our revenue and things like that. So ASM, that's officially official now. I think that delay was maybe his team putting a video package together before so he could say goodbye. I think it was nearly 8 days after his medical that the actual announcement came out. So I'm tipping that might have had something to do with it. So I think the fee was right about 25 million, Craig. And
give or take,
I did hear, was it Eddie speak or someone speak about being really cautious in that space, dealing with Saudi Arabian clubs, giving the links to the club and stuff like that. And the last thing they want to do is take the piss a bit, I guess, and upset the apple cart with what can be perceived as market value, but just take a little bit less and not really not grind people's gears and make them look forensically into the club and things like that. Everything's above board. They probably could have got more if they really wanted to, but I think in the interest of not fairness, but clarity and transparency, they took unders just to keep it all kosher and things like that. So he's gone. Carl Darlow has gone to Leeds, Craig. I think £450,000 was the reported fee, and that's probably unders as well.
Yeah, I think when the news of that first broke and we were trying to gauge what sort of fee you would command, we were all saying, 4 to 6 million? That was slightly overvalued from our perspective, obviously. But yeah, he's gone for a small fraction of that. Good luck to him. He's not the best keeper in the world, never was going to be. Never really got his chance, to be honest, and he always played in weakened teams for us. But I'll always remember his double penalty save at Forest, I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a Saturday morning. Yeah, I'll never forget that. Yeah.
Yeah. That double penalty save. I can't remember who we were playing, but it was another game where he went to get the ball at the edge of the box, totally fluffed it up.
Was it Man
and then
City?
He had to run back, tripped over his own player, and still made an amazing save as well.
Yeah.
That was in the Championship. I can't remember who it was, though.
No, it definitely wasn't Man City then. Yeah, I do remember that. That was crazy. So he's gone, and I think the 450K, like I said, that was just a salary dump as well. Yeah. I think his wages were probably a lot higher than what they should have been. But I think he was a great shot stopper, Craig. I just don't think
Mhm.
the whole passing thing wasn't good for him. Sorry, but I think his shot stopping was undeniable. I think he was a great shot stopper. It was just all the other aspects of goalkeeping, which probably weren't up to the standard that we need. Jamal Lewis, season long loan of Watford. Hopefully that works out and he can get off the books. I know he come with high hopes, and we beat Liverpool for his signature, if you remember, and highly rated, but it just hasn't worked for him here, has it?
Nah, too many injuries. Plus, he was coaching the Cabbage Heat for a few seasons as well. I think
Mm,
it was Bruce that signed him, wasn't it? Aye,
I
from
think it was, yeah.
Norwich.
Norwich,
So
yep.
that was always going to be a step back in terms of his physical development and his actual attributes that he can build on. Not one player from the Steve Bruce era, maybe ASM, actually progressed. Everybody went backwards. So that's no fault of Lewis's, but the injuries has obviously held him back as well.
Yeah, so hopefully he can get his mojo back at
Yeah,
Watford and
good luck, man.
have a really good season and um, get his career on track. I think, like you said, he's been sort of harshly done by managers and injuries. So hopefully he gets a good run at it there and can show some of the talent, I guess, that made Liverpool try and get his signature as well. So
Hmm.
good luck to him. I did read something last night, Craig. Although Harrison Ashby was on the US tour, it's looking like he might end up at Swansea. I think a medical or something might be booked for this week for a season-long loan for him. If he can get a good season and play a lot of time in Swansea, I think that's going to be a really good move for him as well.
Yeah, he needs some game time. He's done all right in pre-season. He got that goal. Was it the winner against Rangers? I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, that real Unco
yeah.
header looking thing.
Cracking header, yeah. But yeah, there's definitely a player there. He just needs game time to develop. He wasn't given much at West Ham, and he didn't feature much in the opening months he was here as well. I don't think he featured at all, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he got injured. I'm pretty sure he got injured.
Great.
Might have been a hamstring or a quad just after he
That
signed,
explains it
which
then.
sort of like you remember he wasn't even in the squad for ages.
Aye.
Like so, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a hamstring injury he got, which isn't surprising, I guess, when you come from training with West Ham's under 21s into a Eddie Howe sort of
Yeah.
training program. So it's going to be a fair step up, and I think that's what happens, especially with young players trying to keep up with the pace and the intensity that we train at.
Hmm.
So that basically leaves Jeff Hendrick, Isaac Hayden, and Ryan Fraser maybe is the rest of the deadwood that we probably need to ship
Hmm.
out. I think one of Emil Kraft or Javier Makia would probably going to go as well, with Ashby going out on loan, and we'll get to the Livramento weekly Livramento update
A tweet.
shortly. Yeah, but yeah, yeah. Ryan Fraser's the interesting one, isn't it? I thought he might have been one of the first ones
Yeah.
out the
I,
door,
I read.
but
I read an article. It was only a short one where Eddie was commenting on Hendrick, Fraser, and Hayden, where he said he's got nothing against these guys. He thinks they're really good people, but he just needs them off the books. And he did mention
yeah,
it's hard because of the money they're on. It's hard to shift them.
yeah,
So Eddie's just been open and honest there. But what he said about Ryan Fraser, about how he's a decent bloke, to be honest, I think he's sugarcoating that because he'd done the dirty on with Brighton, and obviously something's happened in
at
January,
Bournemouth.
whenever it was, for
Mm,
me booted into the under 21s. So he's definitely got some type of attitude problem, or he just doesn't get on well with Eddie for whatever reason. So
yeah,
maybe that's the reason he hasn't gone yet. A lot of clubs maybe know about his attitude problem or anything, or
yeah.
he's happy enough to sit on his 45 grand a week wage and play a match once every 3 weeks for the under 21s or whatever,
I think that says more about him as a person as well. If
It
that's what
does.
he's happy to do, then he doesn't deserve to play anywhere if
Nah,
that's what he wants.
agreed.
Um, but we'll get back to the weekly Tino Livramento update. I think it was overnight here, Craig. We woke up to Southampton maybe preparing a bid for Max Aarons, who is also a right back. And you know how we are, 2 and 2 = 5. Um, they're getting one in because he's going out, and they want cover, which it does kind of make sense. Especially, it's always better to get one in rather than sell someone for 30 million and then try and replace him because the club know you've just got 30 million from selling this bloke. So, yeah, I think from what we sort of can read of the whole situation, I think Southampton have moved the goalpost a few times on this deal, and it sort of seemed close, and then it went cold, and then it sort of come close again and went cold again. So be really good if we can get that wrapped up this week. Do you have a I hate using this word. Do you have a ceiling on how much they should say, look, what's the cutoff before they just walk away?
Well, it's a very tricky one because he's only played something like 71 minutes worth of football all of last season because of his injury. And only 21 minutes of those were in the Premier League. So putting a value on a player who hasn't played for X amount of time due to a serious knee injury, snapped his ACL, I think it was. So
Sure was.
yes,
Yep.
he's British, so he's going to get the British tax. He is one of the hottest prospects in the Premier League. Chelsea have got a canny wedge of a sell-on clause, apparently. So that's affecting his valuation. It's really hard. I would probably estimate anything maybe up to around 30 million, and that might get the deal done. So maybe 25 plus a few bonuses, something like it. But it's impossible to gauge. Who knows what type of numbers are flying around?
What would your limit be though? Like if they said 40, you go, no, we're not. That's it. We're not paying 40, or is it 35? Like, do you have a ceiling that you'd walk away from?
40 and we desperately wanted him, I would again lowball them with say 30 and then say, look, you can have the other 10 when he's reached X amount of appearances, we've won X amount of trophies, that sort of thing. But you're not getting the 40 straight away.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. I think that's the way a lot of deals will get done now.
Aye.
With a set fee plus bonuses, and if they're as good as what they think he is, then they'll get that 10 million anyways, and it won't be a problem. Be better for us because by the time that happens, we'll have more income revenue, we'll have more sponsorships and things like that. Which leads me to my last point, Craig. Just before we jumped on, news broke of Manchester United's £900 million. £900 million.
Yeah.
Adidas sponsorship for 10 years, which is 90 million a year. If my really general basic mathematics are correct. It's definitely raised a few eyebrows on X. I was just on X before, and it's raised a few eyebrows. So I'm taking it. I think that's a great thing, Craig. I don't know about you, but I think that's a great thing. Now, people will quickly point to the fact that we're getting absolutely fisted with our paltry $5 million a year deal through our overlord's car store, which seems to be an ironclad one. It probably doesn't finish for another 2 or 3 years, maybe as well.
2027.
Yeah, which is that's 4 years.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So like I said, everyone that's the shortest bow to draw in this situation. But if you look at the bigger picture, if they're commanding 90 million a year with no real raised eyebrows and nothing like that, there's no reason why our next deal, I think, 30, 45, Craig?
Yeah, push it
And
up.
we can't be criticised or critiqued if they're on 90. I think it's we can sort of be really honest and not get sucked into the hyperbole of it all. I think we can convincingly say that we're half a team that Man United are, and on a global scale and things like that. And especially by the time this deal runs out, I think we'd be able to confidently say with no hyperbole and just real talk that we'd be half the team that Man United are. Was that be fair?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's got to be in a aspiring limit of where we want to reach in terms of getting money into the club. Man United now, they can go and spend 100 million a season easy for the next 10 years and probably double that for 1 or 2. because they're going to get the gate money, they get the TV money, then they're getting the money from Adidas, plus whatever other sponsors they've got flying around. They've literally got money coming out of the rears. But we do know there is a massive debt at that club as well, whilst the Glazers are still there. I think they're £1 billion in debt. So I would rather the club stays debt-free for obvious reasons. But if we've got to, I don't want to say do a deal with the devil, but if we've got to get that type of revenue in, then that's where we need to be aspiring for. The 90 million a season just to have Adidas on your shirt is batshit. It really is. That 900 million is effective. They could have bought our club 3 times over. When you think of it that way, that is absolutely bonkers. Could have bought Newcastle United 3 times over.
Yeah. Or if you look at it in a transfer sense, they could buy a Harry Maguire for the next 10 years. Like it's crazy. So Anthony and some change for the next.
If they want to keep splashing that type of money on bang average players, then so be it.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think on the surface, it looks unfair for us that we get 5 million a year. We're 85 million less per year from that sponsorship. But I definitely think once our deal runs out, that we're more than entitled to ask for 45 a year, given I think our growth in the Middle East is going to be massive. Obviously, with this Super Summer Series, it's going to be our growth in America, which I think is nearly the second biggest market of the Premier League in the world. They definitely are in terms of rights. I think for broadcast rights, I think they're the second biggest, or
you're right.
Being in the or it's being in the Middle East. Either way, the 2 other biggest markets outside of the UK, we're going to have a really good foothold of supporters in, and that worldwide reach, I guess, that everyone wants to talk about is going to be massive by the time this deal finishes. So I think that 90 million is a great benchmark for us to work at and use that as our leverage point to say, well, yeah, if you want to look at it like that, we're half the club, so we're entitled to 45 million a year. But,
agreed. Take a knee, brother.
Yeah. But I think that'll wrap it up, Craig. If we've got any other news kicking around that I've missed.
There's been 3 additions to the academy.
And how happy do they look too?
Oh God, yeah, they look ecstatic, didn't they? Yeah. Nothing's been made official from the club, but the photos have been posted to the players' Instagram where they're holding the shirt up in the tunnel,
stuff like that. Yeah, hold this
so,
shirt up, and by the way, your dog's just been hit by a bus. Jeez, and then the flash goes like, bloody hell.
But what it does go to show, though, is that production line of talent is already started, and that's exactly what we need to be a sustainable football club.
Yeah, and like we've all said, all we need is like an Elliot Anderson or a Lewis Smiley to come through nearly each year, and that's going to help so much with the finances and stuff like that, where we can invest money in other players and other positions and things like that. So, yeah, that's a great call. Just any kids who are watching, who are about to sign, please just show a bit of teeth in your photo. Look at least a little bit happy that you've joined the biggest club in the world, and we'll get you on the podcast, we promise. Yeah, that wraps it up, Craig. Yeah, one more. Oh, yeah, you can go with that.
Right here. Yeah, it's 14 years to the day that we lost our local hero, Sir Bobby. So you'll never be forgotten, mate, in Tyneside or anywhere else around the world. Rest in peace, my friend.
Yes, absolute. Legend. The word legend does get thrown around a lot these days, but I don't think legend does him justice. I think he's bigger than a legend. But that'll do for the night. Before we go, remember, like this video, comment on this video, go back to our last 2 videos, like and comment on them, subscribe to the channel. You'll be in the draw to win a brand new shirt from this season of your choice, complete with a name and number. If you want to, we might have to run a little bit of an asterisk to say that the official numbers haven't been submitted to the Premier League yet. So you do run the risk of, if you want to go with Harvey Barnes, 15, he might not be 15. So maybe go for a banker, a bit more of a banker if you want, like a Wilson 9 or something like that, who'll stay where they are. A Botman 4. I don't see Sven changing his number this season. So just keep that in mind if if you swing that way, that things might change and nothing's submitted yet. We have seen Gordon in the 10 now and Tonali in the 8. So yeah, things are fluid, as they say these days, and nothing's set in stone. So just a word of warning before you do that. But that'll do for us, Craig. Thank you very much for joining me tonight, mate. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Bobby, if you're listening, mate, I hope your kids get better and stuff like that. And that'll be it. I think stay tuned Thursday. I think Craig is our next one.
Yeah, that's when we're going to announce the winner of the shirt as well.
Yes, if you've done that, if you've listened to my instructions and you've done all them things, tune in Thursday and see if you've won yourself a brand new Newcastle United shirt. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks very much, Craig.
Anytime, Ed.